family are, because when you're going through shit and there's nothing good, the only people who stick by you are the ones that really love you. And those relationships deepen, and all the false relationships, the thin relationships that are convenience, those go away. Those people leave. And the third thing you do is you build immunity, because once you develop this, you have this strength and you know who matters in your life, then what happens is it's almost like it's really hard when someone has been, I have a friend that was locked up in Vietnam and beat every day for 6 years. And it's like the IRS is coming. Fuck you, who cares? You think you're gonna scare me? So there's an immunity that comes from that. And so getting people to connect to the higher meaning, that this core belief that I have that life is not happening to us. If we wake up, it's always happening for us. How many of you in this room have had an experience that was brutal, that was painful, that you would never want to go through again, you'd never want anyone you love to go through it, but 5 or 10 years later, you look back and you said, I see why that happened, because it made me so much stronger, or it made me care so much more. How many have had an experience like this that later you saw the deeper meaning here? Say I.
Aye.
And so, learning to do that up front instead of waiting 5 years is what transforms people's lives. But let me just share one thing that off of what you shared for all of you here, because I want to be respectful to your time, but I would love to give you a gift that I can't give you. You can only give it to yourself, but I can put it in front of you.
Thank you.
About 1.5 years ago, I started having some experiences that made me reevaluate things in the way I look at life in some interesting ways, in some simple ways, but they were profound in their impact. And if I asked you right now in this room, or this outdoor arena, it's a beautiful spot, how many of you have something in your life you want to change or improve? I'm just curious. How many got something specific, right? And when I talk to large audiences, they'll tell me, someone will say, I want to lose 50 pounds. Someone says, I want to take my company public. Someone says, I want to turn my child around, they're addicted to cocaine. Or you hear the most crazy stories. People want to change their body, their emotion, their relationship, their finances. And I got, let's say, 4 days with them in a group of 10,000 people. And I go, you greedy bastards, you want everything, right? But what they really want, and I think is what everyone in this room wants, or this outdoor arena wants, that's come here and given an evening of your life, is you must have come because some part of you is, as great as your life may be, wants an even greater quality of life. How many of you want more of something? More love, more joy, more happiness, more health? Say aye. Aye. So if what we really want is an extraordinary life, an even more magnificent life, even if our life is great, the question becomes, what is an extraordinary life? And I suggest to you that an extraordinary life is life on your terms. Meaning, I'm not here to proselytize, tell someone here's how to live your life. I want to know what really would light you up. What would be the next level of your life? What would an extraordinary life look like? And for some people, that might be having 3 beautiful children. For someone else, it's writing poetry. For someone else, it's building a $1 billion company. For someone else, it's finding a way to do something in their community. Someone else, it's praying and connecting with God. There are unlimited ways to have an extraordinary life. What matters is not everybody else's opinion, but what really at this stage of your life would make your life that much more extraordinary. In order to get whatever that is, I found there's 2 master skills that you have to have an extraordinary, a magnificent life. The first one is the science of achievement. And notice I said science of achievement because achievement is a science. I just spent 4 years of my life interviewing 50 of the smartest financial minds literally in the world. Everybody from Warren Buffett to Carl Icahn, Ray Dalio, the very best on the face of the earth. And they're all people that were not from the Lucky Sperm Club. They started with nothing, they built to this area. So in those 4 years, what happened is there was a clear pattern. There's a pattern to economics that when you understand it, if you align with those rules, it's a science, you'll have an abundance of money. If you violate them, you're gonna have too much month at the end of your money. You're gonna have financial stress. Everyone in this room is biochemically unique, and yet we all know there's some universal scientific laws around the body that if you violate them, you're gonna have low energy, you're gonna have disease. If you align with them, you're gonna have high energy. So anyone, regardless of color or background or gender, doesn't matter. If you follow the rules, the science of achievement, you will get there. Now, my guess is you're all good at achieving. We can all enhance that. But what I want to plant a seed with you about tonight is the second master skill that you absolutely have to master to have an extraordinary life. And that is the art of fulfillment. And that sounds boring and simplistic and like, let me achieve more, I'll handle the fulfillment, Tony. But I can tell you that I get the phone call constantly in my life from people that are considered the best in the world. And they'll bring me in because they have some project. They want me to take this company to the next level. They want me to turn around team members or a sports team or something of that nature. But whenever I go there, I always know what they want. And I see myself as a Trojan horse. I'm going to give them what they want. but I'm gonna really make sure I get what they need to them. That's my real mission. And fulfillment is not a science, because what turns you on, excites you, fulfills you is totally different than the person next to you, even if they're your dear friend or your lover or husband or wife. We're all different in this area. I'll give you a simplistic example. I have a dear friend named Steve Wynn. If you've been to Vegas, you probably know his name because he has the Wynn hotels. He built half of Vegas. Just a genius man, started nothing, multi-billionaire, incredible philanthropist, beautiful soul. And one day he calls me up and he says, where are you in the world? And I said, I'm at my Sun Valley home. And we both have a vacation home in Sun Valley, Idaho. And he goes, I'm at my Sun Valley home and it's my birthday. Come over and see me. I said, cool, I'd love to. And he goes, Tony, I want you to come though, because I want to show you there's a painting that I have been coveting for 17 years of my life, and I just outbid everyone in the world at Sotheby's for it, and it's mine. He said I spent $82 million for this painting. So I'm driving over there and I'm picturing, I don't know, the Mona Lisa, some Renaissance thing, right? And I show up and he goes, check it out. And it's a big orange and red square. It's called a Rothko, for those who know your art. $82 million. Now, how many of you have ever been to an art show in, like, New York or someplace, and you look and you go, give me a break, this is insane, right? So I said, Steve, it's a red and orange square. He goes, no, it's a Rothko. I said, dude, give me some paint, 5 minutes, $100, I can duplicate this shit, I promise you. He didn't like that idea very much. He goes, no, the man committed, you need to know the story, the man committed suicide. I said, I hope it's his blood for $82 million freaking dollars, right? And so, but the reason I tell you this is, I actually respect Steve, because I'm not that sophisticated, I can't find $82 million of value in an orange red square, but he can. And so we all have to find what fulfills us. Now, it's different for everybody, but there's two principles. One is, in order to be fulfilled, you've got to grow. We all know you grow or you what, my friends? What? You die. And as simplistic as that is, maybe a better way to describe that is, if you want to know what creates happiness around the world, I can tell it to you in one word: progress. Progress equals happiness. Achievement does not. How many of you in this room have ever achieved a dream or goal you worked your ass off for, and you got to it and your brain went, is this all there is? If you did, raise your hand and say, aye. It's worse than failing. If you fail, most of us in this room are achievers, we don't give up, we just try something else. But if you succeed and you're unhappy, you're not what I call technically screwed, right? So I'll give you a perfect example of how critical this is. So you gotta grow, you gotta make progress, because if you achieve something, no matter how great it is, how long does it feel great? Like, how many of you in this room or in this area have, maybe in the past, when you were a kid, there was something that was a symbol of progress, a symbol of success? Maybe it was a car or a job or an outfit or a relationship. How many of you can remember something that was once for you a dream, a goal, and now it's in your life? You almost even take it for granted. How many can think of something specific that was like that? Say, ah. Thanks for saying that, because I can't see you with all these lights on me, so I can only hear you. I appreciate it. But if you think about that, like the car example, you get a brand new car, and you're a kid or you're young, and it's exciting, and the car represents some symbol of progress or success. And maybe you drive by, plate glass windows so you can check yourself out in the mirror. You never tell anybody the shit, but you do. You remember the new car smell? But what happens when you get that first car and you go out to the movie theater or to a business meeting, you come out and there's a scratch? Do me a favor, make the sound of that scratch, what it feels like in your body, out loud, go ahead. Oh, come on, do it again, go for it.
Fuck.
And you're like, I can't believe this happened, I have a brand new car and this scratch right here, and you stress out, you go inside, but there's nothing you can do. You gotta go into your next meeting or something, so you tell yourself you'll get it fixed, you work it out. And the next time you go to the car, you don't look at that side of the car somehow, right? Try not to see it. And everything's fine until a couple more weeks, and what happens? Another scratch. Give me the second scratch sound, go ahead. And you know what happens by the time you got your third and fourth scratch? By the time you get the fourth scratch, it's a freaking car. I was talking about your relationship, unfortunately. Meaning many people are so excited someone to date them, kiss them, and now they're married. I love you too, get the hell out of here, I gotta work. So, the fulfillment side is everything, and I'll give you a perfect example. We lost what I consider to be a national treasure 2 years ago in America by the name of a man named Robin Williams. Wow. How many of you in this room, or this area, did not like? Don't raise your hand if you like it. Raise your hand if you loved Robin Williams, and if you would say yes so I can hear you too.
Yes.
And if I look around, keep your hands up if you really loved him. And look around the room and look at the percentage of people in this room that really loved him. It's like 98% people. There's 2% that are just mean motherfuckers that just hate everyone. The rest of the people did. Now, sincerely, I've asked this question in China, Brazil, Australia, London last year, just to be curious. And everywhere I go, 90% of people say they love this man. Now, here's the question. Was he a master of the science of achievement? Yes or no?
Yeah.
The ability to take what you envision and make it real, he mastered it. He wanted his own TV show, they said he was insane, he did it. He wanted the #1 show, they said it'll never happen, he did it with Mork and Mindy. He wanted to make more money than he could ever spend, he did it. He wanted a beautiful family, he did it. He wanted to make movies, he did it. Then he wanted to make movies and win an Academy Award for not being funny, for drama, and he did it. He wanted to make the whole world laugh, and he did it. And then he hung himself. Hung himself, leaving millions of people around the earth that loved him, but more importantly, his children, his wife. So success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. He made everybody happy, but whom? Himself. And that sounds so trite, but he suffered because he didn't understand what I want to plant a seed with you about right now tonight and then offer you an opportunity to make a decision on your own tonight if you choose to that could change your life. He suffered constantly because success does not guarantee happiness and problems does not guarantee unhappiness. There's no relationship between problems and happiness. You can have more problems you could ever imagine, lose a leg arm and be totally thrilled. We've all known people or know of people like that. And you can have no problems and make fucking problems up in your head and make yourself crazy. True?
Yeah.
So there's no relationship. So I'm telling you this because if you wanted to truly change the quality of your life, the science of achievement is amazing, but achievement without fulfillment is the worst thing on earth. Fulfillment is the game. And most of us say, I'll be good at that, but we're not. I can't tell you how many billionaire clients that I have. I got 32 people that I coach directly and indirectly or I've worked with on the book. And it's mind-boggling to see how few of them truly are fulfilled. There's nothing worse, by the way, than an angry rich man. You just want to beat the shit out of him, you know? An angry rich woman who doesn't have gratitude. But all of us out here right now, you know, I fed 100 million people last year through Feeding America. I fed 58 million myself, and I matched it, right? So I'm telling you that because I want you to know if you don't know me, I give a shit about what people feel who I don't know who they are and aren't in my seminars. But what I also know is that if you're going to truly have an extraordinary life, ultimately you and I have to do it for ourselves. Someone else can coach us, direct us, but there's a decision that we can make to change our life. And my personal belief is that the quality of our lives is not what's happened to us. We've all had injustice, we'll have it there. The quality of our life is the quality of our decisions. It's not our conditions, it's our decisions that shape our life. How many believe that's true? Don't raise your hand if you don't, but if you really do, how many believe that's true? Say aye. So if you were to look at your life and say, look back 5 or 10 years ago and say, are there any decisions you made that you could think of in the last 5 or 10 years that if you would have made a different decision, your life would be totally different today? For better or worse, I don't know, but totally different. Like a decision of who you're gonna spend time with, who you're gonna work with, what you're gonna do for a living, who you're gonna make love to, who you're gonna marry, whether you're gonna have kids. How many of you can think of a decision that if you made a different decision, it would be a totally different life right now? Say aye. Aye. So if you ask me what the most important decision in life had been to me in my life, I'd say who I chose as my partner in life, my wife. And I don't say that as hyperbole or to make her feel good, it's just the truth. Because ultimately relationships are what make us feel the most happy or the most sad. And who we spend time with is who we become. But in the last year and a half, as much as I know that's one of the most important decisions of my life, my wife and I both agree there's a higher level of decision. That's what I want to put in front of you to consider tonight. And you can grab it if it makes sense, and you can get out of here if you don't think it does. And this is not a religious call. Whatever you believe religiously or spiritually, I believe that's one of the most important decisions, but you have to make that within your own self and your own heart. But the real most important decision is the decision, as simplistic as this is going to sound, to end suffering inside yourself. Now, if you're an achiever, you go, end suffering? I'm not suffering. If you said to me a year and a half ago, are you suffering? Are you kidding me? I have 4 incredible kids. I have the most amazing wife. I have a mission. I travel around the world. I've been able to work with millions of people. I mean, I'm blessed. And that would all have been true. But I did suffer because achievers never have fear either. They just get stressed. I always tell people, stress is the achiever word for fear, because if I follow your stress, it'll take me to your fear. And so, The suffering is imagine this for a moment. What if every moment you're alive, you're in one of two types of states? Suffering states, which could be anger, frustration, overwhelm, sadness, loneliness, anything that puts you in that lousy place is a suffering state. How many follow here? Say aye, so I know I got you.
Aye.
The other type of state, and by the way, I wouldn't call those suffering and say, well, that's just part of life. Of course you're gonna get pissed off. Of course you're gonna get frustrated. And I'm not saying that's not true. I'm just saying, I want to show you that if you were to end that within yourself, as it rises, it'll show up. It'll change your life more than anything. But the second state is what I call beautiful states of being. Not just happiness, because how many of you ever smiled so much your face hurt? You know what I'm talking about? We need variety even in beautiful states. So beautiful states could be happiness, it could be courage, it could be awe, it could be gratitude, it could be love, it could be passion, it could be compassion, it could be creativity, it could be hunger, it could be drive. But when you're in beautiful states of being, you have a magnificent life. And you can solve or basically handle anything. I'm going to show you in the last 2 minutes of this how to do that so you can experience it for yourself in a simple way. But the decision is deciding to live in a beautiful state every day no matter what. The decision is to be happy no matter what. Keywords, no matter what. If you don't make it no matter what, there's always something to be unhappy about. In fact, I began to realize how cheap my happiness was. I give my happiness away over the littlest thing. Because for most of us, we're happy as long as everyone in our life is doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now, unfortunately, I have 18 companies, 12 that I actively manage. We do $5 billion in sales a year. We have 1,200 employees across 3 continents. Tell me something, what are the chances that someone is fucking something up right now? What are the chances? How much? 100%. So all I needed to do to lose my happiness is carry this and feel a little buzz in my pocket, look down, and somebody's fucking something up. Meaning they're not doing what I think they should do out of those 1,200 people on 3 continents, because that's the law of averages. And I would give up my happiness. So I finally decided life is too short to suffer. I'm not gonna do it. It's a waste of time. And billionaires are a dime a dozen, but people that live in the most beautiful, happy state every day, those are the rarest human beings I've ever met. Someone asked me the other day, what is it that makes somebody be willing to go in France or Paris or San Bernardino or Orlando and kill men, women, and children randomly? What kind of person would do that? And I said, I can't tell you who that person was, but I can tell you who they were not, who would not do it. A fulfilled human being, a happy human being, a person in a beautiful state. Someone who's happy does not try to kill or hurt someone else. Someone who's happy does not try to steal from someone else. Only an unfulfilled, suffering human being does it. Now, no one in this room does that, but in our suffering, we beget more suffering. Our suffering makes us see things, and it's just this 2 million-year-old brain looking for what's wrong. What's wrong is always available, is it not? Yes. So is what's right. So here's my invitation to you. What would happen if you decided that from this moment on, there's not going to be any more suffering in your life? The only way to do that would be say, I am 100% responsible for my experience of life, and I am going to find something to appreciate in every moment. I'm going to find ecstasy in this moment, because if you can't find ecstasy in this moment right now besides someone you enjoy or love, or what you just witnessed, or where you're going to go to dinner, more money, more fame, more fortune, more degrees, more friends, more Emmys, more anythings are not going to do it. If we can find joy and happiness in every moment, then we are free. And then you can go achieve all that you want, but you'll achieve not to be happy, you'll be happily achieving. And that is a completely different universe for people who actually apply this. So I'll give you an example of why we don't do this, is that most of us have turned our life into a set of expectations. As life has gotten more available, the internet, the resources around the world. You can live in Africa and you have a phone now where you have connection to the best education in the world, MIT, Harvard, whatever the case may be. You got access to maps, radar. When I worked with President Clinton when he was the President of the United States, I remember he didn't have an email account. I was like, there's this new thing called AOL. Why don't we try this and I'll communicate with you this way? He's like, I gotta check that out. There's more computing power in a Maasai warrior's hand today than the President of the United States had 20 years ago. And it's only gonna get better. So what happens though is we expect more. So I'll give you one example. And then I'll give you the last piece and we'll be out of here. I fly to Australia pretty regularly. I'm fortunate to have my own plane now. It's a privilege that's beyond imagination. But for my whole life, I've flown commercially. And when you get in a plane in the US, most of us know you're still connected to the internet. You can still get your work done. But when you go to Australia, it's 14 hours, no connection, all these companies moving. It's stressful, and most people are frustrated by it. So I get on Qantas Airlines one night, and they announce, It's a very powerful idea. We have internet. And it was like God entered the plane. People are cheering, screaming, oh my God, Facebook is back. And it was so funny, I hadn't noticed it, because even myself, I was so excited. And then what do you think happened within 15 minutes? It went down, and in 14 hours never came back up, and people were like, this is bullshit. I can't believe this. Oh my. 20 minutes earlier was a miracle, now it's an expectation. If you want to change your life, all of your suffering comes because you have preferences that you think life is supposed to be like. We think people are supposed to treat us a certain way, be a certain way, do things a certain way based on some model in our head, and it's just not true. If you trade your expectations for appreciation, your whole life will change in that instant. And so the ability to do this is really simple. Here's the invitation. If you were to decide tonight, I'm gonna burn the boats. I always tell people, if you wanna take the island, burn the boats. If there's a way out, you're gonna take the way out. If there's no way out, you're gonna move forward. If tonight you decided, I'm not gonna suffer anymore, and the way we do that is it still shows up because the mind creates things to worry about, frustrate about, freak out about. But in my family, we have a 90-second rule. We don't impose it on someone else. We don't say, you're suffering, you've been doing it too long. We never do that. We just go, if we see someone suffering, say, honey, feels like you might be suffering, I'm here for you. Anything you need, I'm here for you. And we let them work it out. We never pressure someone to change. But within 90 seconds, it used to be like the 4-hour rule, and we graduated to 90 seconds because it's like a muscle. And now it's like something shows up and you just let it go. Let it go, let it go, and let me just take a focus on what I can control instead of constantly reacting to the world. So the invitation is the ability to let go and to find joy and appreciation at any moment and to not suffer another day of your life. This means not I'll be happy as long as my kids get into Harvard. It's not I'll stay happy as long as my husband and wife stay with me. I can't guarantee they will, maybe they'll leave. I would like you to have freedom for the rest of your life. That freedom only comes when you stop blaming everything outside yourself, you stop blaming yourself, and you own that you can end suffering as it arises, and you live in a beautiful state over and over again. In that beautiful state, amazing things happen. So I would rush because of time, so I want to give you an experience if you're interested in it just for 2 minutes. How many of you suffer, you would have called it frustration, but how many suffer and realize you suffer at times? Let me see your hands here. More often than you want to. If it's true, say aye. Aye. So you say, Tony, how do I do this? The way you do this is you make the decision, you get someone else maybe that you might want to partner with in doing this, and you say, here's what we're gonna do. Whenever I get pissed off or frustrated or worried, scared, as it comes up, I'm gonna realize those are just thoughts going by. How many of you ever thought, I'm gonna kill that motherfucker, but you didn't do it, but you thought it. Let me see your hands. So, thoughts don't hurt us, it's the thoughts you believe. You didn't believe you're really gonna kill them, so you didn't. So, when suffering comes up, I'm gonna show you right now a breathing pattern that'll cause you to go into a beautiful state. And as you do this breathing pattern, think about what you're grateful for. I wanna show you then how you can end it. So if you would, stand up and we'll try it real fast. You all been sitting too long anyway. You doing okay out there? Yeah. Okay, cool. So here's what we want to do. I want you to show you that this works. Now there's a million ways to do this, but I'm doing this one because it'll take 2 minutes. How many of you have some unfinished business somewhere in your home life, in your intimate life, in your business or career life?